So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to crochet the crunch stitch. Really simple pattern that just needs us to use slip stitch and half trebles. That's UK terminology, that would be half doubles in US terminology. Gives you a lovely textured finish, ideal for baby blankets and for scarves, and to just give you something a little bit different to work on and think about than the basic stitches. So it's an ideal stitch for beginners. Hello, my name's Karen Stangram and welcome to Conquer Crochet, the channel for tips, tricks and techniques for conquering your crochet. Everything I talk about in today's video will be linked in the descriptions below. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss a single stitch. So if you're keen to get going with this video, give me a thumbs up and let's do this. So for this tutorial I'm going to be using the Stylecraft Aran in the colourway Lavender. I'm going to use a 5mm crochet hook. I have my scissors cutting off my end and my needle for sewing in my ends. So to start off we're going to make a slip knot. You can do this in whichever way you prefer. And we're going to make a foundation chain in multiples of 2. So to do that we yarn over and pull our yarn through that slip knot. That's 1. Yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook, that's 2. Yarn over, pull through the loop on the hook, 3 and 4, 5, 6. So make your foundation chain for as long as you would like your piece to be, for the width that you would like your piece to be. So if you're wanting a scarf, you want maybe 20 or 30. If you're making a blanket, you're going to be looking into the hundreds. Or you might just want to do a sample piece, and I'm just going to do 20 stitches on this sample piece. So pause the video now whilst you make your foundation chain. So I've made my foundation chain in multiples of 2, so I'm now going to start my first row. And my first row we're going to crochet into the second chain from the hook, so we don't count the one on the hook, so this is 1 and 2. And into there we're going to do a slip stitch. So you insert your hook, yarn over, pull it through, and then without yarning over you pull through the one on your hook. In the next stitch we're going to do a half treble. This is a half double in US terminology, but a half treble in UK. So to do that we yarn over, we insert, yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that's your half treble. In the next stitch we're going to do a slip stitch. So you insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the one on your hook. And in the next stitch we're going to do a half treble again. So yarn over, insert into the chain, yarn over, pull back through. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull back through all 3 loops. And we're going to continue this way all the way down this row with a slip stitch and a half treble, slip stitch, half treble until you get to the end. So carry on down your row and I will meet you at the end of this row. So I've come to the end of my row and I'm going to finish off with a slip stitch in that last chain. I'm just going to tighten up the slip knot, and that's what we have so far. So for the next row then we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to turn our work. That chain 2 does not count as a stitch, therefore we're going to work in this very first space here. And into that first space we're going to do a slip stitch. So going through both parts of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. And that's 1. Then we're going to do the half treble in the next stitch, making sure we're going through both parts of the V, 3 loops on your hook, pull back through. Slip stitch in the next one, half treble in the next one. So pause the video now whilst you work down your row with slip stitches and half trebles and I will join you at the end of this row. So I've got 2 stitches left in my row, so I'm going to do a half treble in the next stitch, and then the last stitch of the row going into this V here, we do a slip stitch, making sure we're going through both parts of that stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the one on your loop, on your hook, sorry. So for the next row, we chain 2, we turn our work. Remember that chain 2 does not count, so we're working into this stitch here, and we go in with a slip stitch, and in the next stitch we do the half treble, slip stitch, and then in with the half treble, slip stitch, and then a half treble. So continue all the way down this row, doing your slip stitches and your half trebles, remembering the last stitch of your row needs to be a slip stitch. At the end of your row you're going to chain 2 and turn, and your very first stitch is going to be a slip stitch into the top of the slip stitch from the previous row. So I'm going to continue making a few more rows here. You can pause the video if you'd like to carry on with your work, or keep playing, and I will see you in a few seconds when I have done a few more rows. So I've just done a few more rows for you to see how the pattern works up, and what you get are these lovely sort of textures. You've got this little diagonal line going across. It's the same on the reverse because it's the same pattern that you're just repeating back and forth, so it will look the same on the back as it does the front, making it ideal for blankets or for scarves. Just vary the width of your chain that you start off with. Remember, that's multiples of 2 you need to do that foundation chain in. You start on a slip stitch, you finish on a slip stitch, and you just make sure that you're going through the right part of the stitch. So if I just turn this up again, you're going through this part here, these V's here, not this part here, otherwise you'll end up with a completely different stitch. Okay, so you're working in those there. So that's how to do the crunch stitch. I really hope you found today's tutorial useful. If there are any information that you need to find out about this video, have a look in the descriptions below, where I post all the links to any freebies and other videos I think you might find useful. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed this video, to give me a thumbs up below. Don't forget also to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you've enjoyed it and you'd like to see more of my tutorial videos. There are 2 other videos on screen to help you on your crochet journey, and I will see you over there. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, and happy hooking!